Welcome to Small Ship Cruise Talk, a show where we share insider tips and first-hand experiences about this outstanding, yet lesser-known form of travel. We are passionate about sharing our knowledge about river cruises, expedition, yacht, and barge cruises, so you are informed when it comes to choosing your own vacation experiences. We're your co-hosts, Dan and Mikkel, and we are your cruise experts and the co-founders of Sometimes Sailing, a website that focuses on small ship cruising. Welcome to Small Ship Cruise Talk. Today we have two very special guests with us, Ilana and Frank. They are one of the pre-eminent go-to resources for large ship cruises. But today, we've asked them to be a guest on our podcast, Small Ship Cruise Talk, because they did something monumental. They went on their first small ship cruise. Welcome, Ilana and Frank. Please introduce yourselves.
Well, thanks so much, guys. We're happy to be here. So I'm Ilana from Lifeall Cruise.
From Lifeall Cruise.
Yeah, and we are husband and wife along with our son, Ethan, who often joins us on cruises and works with us in creating content about cruising. We're so happy to be here talking about small ship cruising.
We are excited to have you, and we are thankful we've been on cruises with you guys before. We adore the both of you and Ethan. It's always great to see the three of you, especially if we don't know we're on the same cruise and we run into you, which is always a treat, or at the same cruise event.
Oh, yeah. It's been nice the last year.
And I'm happy we're on a double date here today.
Yeah, absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about the river cruise you went on.
Yeah. So we were on AmaWaterways, AmaMagna, and I did really think that for a first river cruise, that ended up being a really good one to start with. I think especially given the size of the ship, obviously, you know, it's still a small ship in contrast to an ocean cruise. But given the fact that AmaMagna is that double wide size, it really didn't feel that small to us as a first one. But we did do the Danube River.
Yeah, that was amazing.
What did you think as your first river cruise going in Europe on, I would say, Dan, you can tell me if you agree or not, but one of the top two, I would say the Danube and the Rhine are usually people's first with good reason. So through Austria, through Germany, through Hungary a little bit.
Yeah, it's such a great gateway river to jump into, and especially with the Ama and being on the Magna, because like you said, it is that double wide, and it's a nice like little segue into small ship cruising if you're used to a big ship format.
Yeah, it was amazing. Even starting off, we flew into Munich. And so we had some time in Munich before the cruise. And then like every single village was so picturesque and nice. But we especially did enjoy Vienna and also Salzburg.
Yeah, and historical too.
Was it your first time in the cities on this itinerary?
I had gone to Munich years ago when I was like 16 and we did a graduation trip. And so we did like a European grad tour. So we went to Munich then. And actually, one of the things we did in Munich this time is we went to the Hofbrauhaus just because I kind of felt like you need to do that. But I remember being 16 years old. And even though in Canada where I live, it's 18 to drink. But even at the time, like teachers who chaperoned us, they had told all of the parents, they're like, when we go to Europe, it's like when in Rome. So in Munich, like everybody's got these like 1 liter, you know, almost like a pitcher of beer. Anyway, that was fun though.
Right. And I was there too when I was 16 as well. And I had been to Munich, I had been to Salzburg, Vienna. So I'd visited that a long time ago. So it was nice to go back again.
Yeah, and we should say Frank's father is actually from the Salzburg area.
That's right.
So it was kind of meaningful.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Is that why you had been there before or no?
Yeah, I went as a family trip when I was 16.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Like a family reunion.
Family reunion.
This time without the relatives.
Right.
It was nice to see it again, like 40 years later, you know?
Right. Yeah.
I love Salzburg. We went to Salzburg with AmaMagna, actually.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. Gorgeous. And we saw it in the off season in early March. And even then, I was like, this is stunning. It's probably even more stunning in the summer. So I feel like you guys went during prime time for some picturesque photos.
I'm surprised how meticulously clean it was. It was so clean.
It's immaculate. It's interesting too, because to your point about how pretty it is, it really did look like, you know, in August, it was very much like the hills are alive. It really did look like that. So it was beautiful. We actually took the funicular up to the top where there's the fortress, and we ended up going to lunch there, and we had the most incredible view. And I think like if you're in the States or in Canada, like a view like that is like, oh my gosh, you'd pay so much money to be able to eat at a restaurant like that. But it was just the same price as eating, down at any of the restaurants in the town. Like it was like 21 euro or something. Not that that's like super cheap, but it wasn't super expensive. But we ate schnitzel, and we had, that dessert called Salzburg Knockerl. Do you know what it is? It's a berry souffle. And funny enough, I always think of Rudy Soderman when it comes to that souffle, because at the restaurants that he has on some of the cruise ships, he'll have that dessert because Rudy Soderman is from Salzburg, Chef Rudy. So whenever we see that dessert anywhere, like we'll often get out and we think of him. So yeah. And again, because Frank's father is from Austria, the idea that it's berries and a souffle, like it's very much.
I kind of grew up with some of that food anyway, so it's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're making me hungry. I should say we're recording this around dinner time, so I eat dessert first, is what I say.
It was big enough to share, so too bad you weren't there.
It is too bad for so many reasons. Well, you made the perfect link to Big Ship Cruises with Chef Rudy. Tell everybody what ocean ship cruise line that's with.
Okay, so Chef Rudy Soderman, he is right now the culinary, I don't know what his official title is. Like, I don't know if it's the culinary, like
head of culinary
for Princess Cruises. And he has been in the past, I think, for Holland America, and like involved with Carnival as well. And on Holland America ships, there's the Rudy Celle de Mer, which a lot of people love. And on Princess Cruise ships, quite a few of their ships, there's the Catch by Rudy, which a lot of people would say is one of the very best specialty restaurants. I find that when we're on a ship, and we've been on a ship with him before, that, he's so passionate about the food.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So that's the perfect bridge to talk about maybe some preconceived notions you had about river cruising before you boarded. And if you could also talk about the reality once you are on board as expert and well cruised big ship cruisers going on your first river cruise. What did you research or have in your minds or know from other content creators or know from other friends even who have been on small ship cruises what to expect with a river cruise, and then what actually happened in comparison?
I do have to say though, shout out to you, even though it's on your own podcast, but you were nice enough to have a call with me like a week before to give me heads up about a lot of things and answer a lot of questions. So that was amazing. Plus, I did listen to your podcast. I actually watch it on YouTube. And you guys are both super informative. So great resource. But beyond that, I did watch other videos, of course, on YouTube. I guess we had known about river cruising for a few years. I did used to work, this is years ago, but I used to work with a travel agency in Montreal, very part-time. But we did sell river cruises as well. And I, did a couple of training sessions on them. So I had an idea. And I thought they would be interesting, but I think my preconceived notion, at least, is that it would be extremely slow paced and there wouldn't necessarily be a lot to do. That was
pretty much mine too. Yeah.
I was going to ask you, Frank, what you thought too.
Yeah. Pretty much the same. I think I had a bit of an idea because, we had watched videos and stuff like that. But I would have thought too a lot slower pace.
Did you think you would like it?
Yeah, I still had a feeling I would still like it. I just like the idea of, sailing down this river and just stopping in villages every day. And I was looking forward to that, and it pretty much, Yeah,
it was really nice.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I think I thought also that a lot of the people would be older, which I always find a funny thing, even when I say it sometimes, because I realize I'm getting older. So my perception of what older is different than 20 years ago. That's a reality too, right? Because I'll tell people, I'm like, oh my gosh, people were really quite young because on average they were between like 50 and 70. I hear myself talking and I'm like, not that there's anything wrong with those ages, but I think if I was 30, I would hear that differently then. And of course, there were some people that were younger and some people that were older, but I thought that a lot of the people would be, there's nothing wrong with anybody of any mobility or anything being on any cruise, and everybody's got some great stories. So I never mind with whatever age of person we are with on a cruise. But I did think that overall it would be mostly people that were retired and mostly people that would have been over 70, and maybe even people
Older
with
than
like
that,
canes
yeah.
and stuff like that. I don't know.
Or
why I thought
walkers,
that.
or we found out that most people were quite active actually, and healthy, active, and I mean they were having a good time on this cruise. They were going hiking and biking and all that stuff.
That
Yeah.
Were there any other surprises between ocean versus river?
Oh, yeah. So on the first night of our river cruise, and just to let you know, the first day, because we started off in the town of Vilshofen, and you pronounce it the way it's supposed to be.
Phil Scholfen.
That would be the way it's supposed to be pronounced. But anyway, I still say it the way it's spelled. But so we had the Oktoberfest, we had the welcome on the ship, and then we all went to Oktoberfest, which was so fun and so cool. And then we knew dinner, it said dinner at 7:45. Well, if you're an ocean cruiser, dinner at 7:45 means what? Dinner starts at 7:45, right? Like it was open dining at 7:45, meaning like there are just tables that are open and non-reserved for 7:45 in the main dining. That's where we were. It was like main dining and it's open at 7:45. So we went back and we're like, we haven't finished unpacking yet. So we all were like, well, we'll just unpack for the next half an hour. We're like, we're not that hungry because we went to Oktoberfest and Frank and Ethan had beer and then we had pretzels. And then we showed up to dinner maybe 8:30. And there we go. And they're like, and I was like, oh, we'll just have a table for 3, please. And he's like, oh, okay, dinner's already started. We're like, yeah, that's okay. That's fine for us. We don't mind. And then he's like, do you want to sit with other people? And we're like, no, we'd prefer to sit by ourselves. Like, we knew there were some tables that you could sit just 3 people or 4 people or 2 people. We just didn't think that when they say dinner is at 7:45 or at 7 or at 7:30, because different evenings, the dinner time changed between those times, that they actually meant that everybody arrived at that time. Because in recent years, we've done whatever the equivalent of my time dining, open dining. We did not know everybody starts dinner at that time. So you kind of have to like line up, for a lack of a better word. You don't really have to line up, but you know what I mean? You show up at the time dinner starts. So anyway, we did eat at that time and everything was fine. But we were like, okay, well, now we know. And I think we said, nobody told us. And they're like, well, it does say it on the planner that it's at 7:45. I'm like, yeah, okay. I think other people would have realized if they hadn't ocean cruised. But I think in our head, we just didn't think you had to be there at that time.
Yeah.
So that was our little lesson.
Yeah. I think it varies. It kind of is open until like they'll give you a time frame, but you're right that normally I would say 98% of people, if not 99%, get there within the first 10 to 15 minutes. So they like do a double take, the crew, the wait staff, and look at you like they're accommodating, but they're kind of like, oh, okay, everybody's almost done. Yeah, so I can see that happening.
Yeah, for sure. And that being said, for breakfast, when we ate in the main restaurant, like if it started at 7 and it was till 10, as an example, we did not have to go at 7. Like we would sometimes go at 8:30, depending on our tour, sometimes go at 8, sometimes go at 7:45. And that was fine. And we did sit with other people sometimes, and we sat ourselves sometimes, and we didn't mind.
Yeah, we understand that firsthand.
In contrast to ocean cruising, a lot of ocean cruises, you've got sea days, right? Like, maybe a Caribbean cruise, you tend to have, out of a 7-day cruise, you'll have usually 3 sea days, sometimes even 3.5 sea days or 4 sea days. So like 3 ports and and 4 sea days or so. And sometimes 4 ports. And we've been on Mediterranean cruises that have had a little bit more ports, but we've always had sea days and we've always had downtime. But on the river cruise, we were surprised that on some days we visited 2 places, and that meant excursions in 2 places, and that meant like a little bit of busyness in both places, and it was leisurely, but it was still doing stuff. And there was like no sitting around, the way on like an ocean cruise you might just sit around the pool and have a drink. There were few opportunities to do that on the river cruise, and that didn't make it bad. It just made it a really nice travel experience. I think I wasn't expecting the travel experience to be so good. It was very immersive.
Interesting. We did that when we were on the Magna. We skipped an excursion one of the days just to enjoy the ship. Because
that idea.
We felt like it's such a beautiful ship and it needed a full day of just enjoyment.
Yeah.
But I will say that we skipped ports we had been to and the weather wasn't good, so it was a really easy decision.
Yeah.
But if I had not been on that itinerary before, I would have had a really hard time making that decision to stay on board. So it's a good reason to repeat an itinerary.
Oh, that is a great
I think
point.
that's probably what we would do, because exactly, we didn't want to skip a port,
Yeah, we didn't want to miss anything.
As much as we would have liked to maybe spend a little more time on the ship.
Yeah.
But, if we would ever do it again, I think that's what we would do probably, maybe choose one port and then say, hey, let's stay on. And
Yeah. And it was nice too, because the times that we did have, like if we had a port in the morning, maybe we'd get back on the ship at 11, we'd be off from 9 till 11. Then we'd get back on the ship. We'd have lunch at like 12:30, and then, like we wouldn't be in the next port until 3 o'clock. I think this is when we were in Milk in the morning, and then was it Grine in the afternoon, or Krems?
I think so, yeah.
Near Durnstein.
Yes, yeah.
And my pronunciation, I apologize that my pronunciation of everything is not good, but
was that?
everybody knows what I mean.
Don't worry, we're not native German speakers either.
But that was so nice. We had like 3 hours in between, and we were eating lunch at around 12:30, and we ate in the main restaurant, and like passing by us, or I guess we were passing by it, but the scenery, the castles, the vineyards, it was
Yeah, that was stunning.
everything.
Yeah.
And I will tell you something that I heard in somebody else's video recently, that they said sometimes it's not that picturesque. Sometimes you're only seeing campgrounds. We were looking at the campgrounds and we were like, oh my God, it's so nice to see people swimming and they're camping. Like, that was really nice. I didn't think that was not picturesque. Like, I didn't need to always see a castle. I understand real people live there. So anyway, that was, it was nice. I will tell you something else that surprised me, by the way. It was that in an ocean cruise, I love to look at the ocean. So obviously the blue of the ocean, sometimes the turquoise is gorgeous. This was more the color of almost like a lake, I guess. Well, what a river looks like. But for me, I can only compare it to a lake, in the country where I live, which is nice, very peaceful. But it was that we were on the second deck and our balcony was so close to the water. It was the most calming, peaceful thing. As much as I love the ocean, the river was so peaceful. We saw swans a couple of times. We saw the ducks.
Beautiful.
We saw the campgrounds.
What surprised us though sometimes, because we had the balcony, and then sometimes we'd go through the docks, and then the locks, suddenly you're just staring at a wall. 20 minutes or whatever, 40 minutes, just look at a wall.
You literally can touch it too. I have.
The ship going down slowly. It was kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, it was cool.
I enjoyed that experience.
Yeah, we did a little video where I didn't actually touch it, but we were probably within 2 feet. So I was but it is an ever-changing view. It is incredible. I really do think everybody who's done ocean cruising and likes ocean cruising should try a river cruise, especially for people who like the travel experience. I would say that that's the caveat. Yeah.
It's so interesting what you said, that the river cruises are good for somebody who wants a travel experience, but that could mean different things to different people listening. So for you, what does the travel experience mean for somebody interested in going on a river cruise?
I think for some people, going on a cruise, the ship is a destination. And you know what? I mean, there are some incredible ships, right? With the types of shows that are on as an example, like a Royal Caribbean, one of their mega ships. The Aqua Show is incredible. And the infinity pool that is huge. And, having a ship that's 250,000 tons, incredible with the water slides and everything. And some people are going to absolutely love that. And to a certain extent, maybe a little bit of the party culture that exists on some cruises. So I think if that's what you love in a cruise, I would never try to convince somebody to do a river cruise because, it just wouldn't be necessarily the experience that they wanted, at least not for that party vacation kind of cruise. But I do think that for somebody who likes, as an example, a Mediterranean cruise or a cruise to Norway or an Alaska cruise or a Caribbean cruise where they're actually doing excursions and they enjoy the land portion and experiencing some of the culture and the sights, and if that is important to them, then I think that a river cruise is like an absolute must. I don't think anybody would be disappointed. Plus the experience on the ship. This is maybe another thing. I didn't expect the food and the ship experience. I didn't expect to really think the food was so good. Like the on the ship experience was great. I do think that the type of experience that you get being able to visit, small villages, big cities, like in our case, we were in Vienna. That is a world-class city. We got to explore Vienna, have these incredible experiences. We even went to a concert in Vienna, which you encouraged us to do. In the evening time, I was going to skip it, but you said, no, you have to do it, which we were glad. What an incredible experience. And then at the same time, being able to walk around these picturesque villages, both with the tour guides that were, on the most part, really quite good, as well as on our own with some free time. And we kind of used ChatGPT to help us to figure out the translation of some of the different plaques on the walls and to give us walking tours with some of the things that were interesting to us. It was really amazing. And I do think for people that like ocean cruising and like the visiting, like the travel experience that can come with ocean cruising, I definitely think they would not be disappointed in a river cruise. They would like it.
And you have said to us in the past that a big ocean ship is the destination. Mediterranean, Norwegian, even if somebody likes the culture and everything, like you just, said a few seconds ago, that it's likened to an ocean cruise ship in that way. But it is very interesting that an ocean cruise ship could be the destination. You don't have to leave. Frank, was there anything you missed from an ocean ship on this experience?
Really. I enjoyed every moment on this ship. I enjoyed it so much that I didn't really think much about, what I would have missed on a large cruise ship. I think I actually enjoyed just the idea of being on a small ship like this. I really liked that, 150 passengers, I think it was.
64.
Or 164. It was just nice. Yeah. No, I didn't miss the large cruise ship at this point at all.
Did you miss the variety of restaurants or anything like that? Because that was one thing that we thought maybe we'd find
maybe a little
confining a little bit. I don't know. But
Maybe
we didn't seem to miss it.
No, I wouldn't say we missed it.
Yeah. But that,
Yeah.
that is something like on bigger ocean cruise ships. You certainly have more varieties these days of restaurants and entertainment options. But it's funny how you can adapt to anything as long as it's good.
And their menus were good. I mean,
The menus were
we had a
good,
nice
yeah.
variety. So, no, it was good.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
But even in terms of the entertainment, like I would have to say the entertainment is, I'm not even going to say it's a weak point. It's just a difference compared to ocean cruising, But that was something I thought that we would miss was some of the big shows that you get, on big ships. But I feel like you adapt to all of the pros, all of the positives of the river cruise that in the evening time we enjoyed. There was a really nice duo who would play in the main lounge, and most of the time they would play, or one of them would DJ, and we would have so much fun though. Like we were dancing some of the times, or I was dancing,
just feel like a
and
couple
you were
of hours
standing
in
with the other guys.
I danced too a bit.
You did dance a little bit. You did. But there were definitely some times that it was the
all the women were on the floor. Yeah, you're right.
The women,
Yeah.
it was like.
Yeah, it went
was
on
fun.
for like a couple hours, and then that was it.
Yeah,
By 11 o'clock, everybody
Right, like
was
11:30.
wiped out.
And there was like sort of a trivia game one night. I think that you were editing.
Yeah,
I meant. Yeah, that's That's life.
I love that. Well, the good news is, it's for a finite amount of time. So it's not like you have to make the decision to enjoy the couple of restaurants on this river cruise ship versus the ocean ship. Like, it's not like you're never going to eat at a different restaurant again. So I think that helps.
Yeah, absolutely. But I do think it's good for anybody. This is our philosophy in general, is when we're even on like big cruise ships, no matter which cruise ship we're on or cruise line, we will adapt to whatever is the most positive about that experience. We definitely have our preferences when it comes to the experience for us, even on big ships, but we still are able to, I think like you guys are able to see like, oh, this is really enjoyable on this ship for that experience for that amount of days.
Yeah. We always try to find the positive and the good in things too. I mean, just being able to travel is an honor, privilege in itself. There are so many people that can't travel for whatever reason. So you really
you're right.
always make lemonade out of lemons if there's ever a lemon, but hopefully no lemons, even if you're going to Italy. The only lemon is in my cocktail.
Oh, that's a good one. The only one
Twist.
was the lemon drop martini. That'd be good. Let's save that brain
They
secret.
do have lemon drop martinis, I'm pretty sure, on that.
They did.
Sip and sell.
Every night.
Yeah.
Every night.
Every night.
Yes. I love it.
Sip and sell.
Yeah, it was good.
Yes. Exactly. I'm picturing you on the dance floor. Maybe, you, Frank, are standing by. Maybe you come for a minute, not when the ladies have the dance floor, as you just said. Where is Ethan? Or I think he's 24 or just turned 25.
Yeah, so he's 25. He was not really dancing. No.
Okay.
I do want to mention, though, something that surprised us is Ethan was not the youngest person on board.
Please tell us more.
So we thought we would be among the youngest, Frank and I. I don't know why, but I definitely thought that Ethan would be the youngest by 25 years, and he's 25 now. But he's well traveled, so I think he likes traveling. He appreciates that, so he knew he would like the cruise. He wasn't worried about that at all. But there was a family, and they had two girls that were 16 and 20. There was another family that, speaking of multi-generational travel, that they had an 18-year-old as well as a 26-year-old and a 29-year-old. And the 26 and the 29 were living in different cities and working now. But this was from the part of the parents. They were like, let's do a family vacation and everybody will fly in to do this trip. And there were another couple of younger people as well on the cruise, maybe in their early 20s. So that surprised me. I didn't expect, it's not a party ship, as you know, but it's very enjoyable. And one of the things that Ethan really liked was, and we liked it too, was the fact that with AmaWaterways, you had your excursions included, and they had a choice of 3 or 4 excursions in every single port. So it was pretty nice. There was one port that he really wanted to do a hike because he was like, this is really active and then he's like, he wanted us to do the hike. And I really wanted to just walk. I was like, that walking tour sounds good. And anyway, he did the hike and I was very glad that he did it and not me. Biking.
Was it like 15 miles or something?
Yeah, a 3-hour bike ride through the villages,
ride.
like Durnstein and that whole area. So he did that. He really liked it. That would have been really hard for us. We borrowed the bicycles to go leisurely.
You did what, like 40 minutes? About 40 minutes, and along the Danube. That was nice enough.
Yeah, it was very enjoyable to do. But he did a biking excursion. So I think that that's what's really good about it. I mean, in similar ways to an ocean cruise that you can have everybody do what's of interest to them. But so I found that nice too. And depending on what people enjoyed or the level of activity people wanted to do, like there was the gentle walker tours and then the more active tours, active walkers. So we were always in the more active walkers, I guess, or regular. He did about half the excursions with us, and the other half he just did, with whoever else wanted to do those. And Ethan's very talkative, so Ethan meets people, and he was fine. And he'll chat with somebody if they're 50 or if they're 75 or if they're 30, so no problem.
Yeah, Ethan's great. Did you feel like maybe it's hard to know because you weren't on the excursions that you didn't do together, but did some of the, let's call them 20-something-year-olds kind of socialize a little more, or no, everybody kind of stayed with their multi-gen family, so to speak?
What do you
I think they stayed more with their families.
Yeah, on the most part.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much they did.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what's different too than an ocean cruise where you've got like a couple of thousand people, if not more than a couple of thousand, where, sometimes like, the younger people are going to go out at night and they're going to meet each other and that kind of thing. I would say it was definitely less that, maybe more similar to like land travel. That being said, when we met the other family who had the kids that were 18, 26, and 29, we did sit with them one time for lunch because we just had a few things in common, which was super nice. And
We had dinner with them too.
oh yeah, we did. We had at
Jimmy's.
Jimmy's, so that was nice.
And
And
I know Ethan hung out with one of them at the
yeah, they
evening
hung
there
out a little
at
bit.
the lounge.
Yeah, just chatting, not dancing.
They were chatting while everybody else was dancing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think, but for Ethan, it wasn't like a big priority to meet people during that cruise. So it's fine.
Yeah.
But definitely enjoyable.
Yeah.
And it's such a crapshoot with the amount of, people. It could be at capacity, but it could not be. And then, like you said, the ages of the people, you just never know. And when there's less people going on it, there's less opportunity for there to be ranges and ages like on an ocean ship. So I think being realistic about that too. And hopefully liking your family if you are a 20-something-year-old and going on with your family, because you just don't know if there's other people on it that you're going to click with. But that could be said of anyone, right?
We've gone on Holland America before, and there have not been that many young people on Holland America, understandably, if we're not at high season. But, Ethan will end up talking to even people that are in their 50s. It just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We have a very easy time talking to Ethan, and I do feel like in a good way, and just like Dan and me too, like he's a little bit of an old soul.
Maybe traveling thing, do you think? Because you guys have traveled probably your whole lives, I would imagine.
Yeah. But also I think that it's like which came first, the chicken or the egg kind of thing. Like, did he travel more and then he was like a little bit of an older soul and could relate to, any age? Or was it the opposite kind of thing? Because he travels, he can do that. So we'll never know for any of us, I guess.
To your point, though, I do think people bringing their own children on cruises, and in this case, I'll say any cruise, I do think helps them to become more comfortable speaking with people. Everybody from the waiter and the cabin attendant to the other people that they may meet, at a kids club or, at the table, in the evening time at dinner. So I do think that you develop social skills by cruising.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
You had a unique situation that Ethan stayed on deck 1, which had the windows that you could. You'll tell us, but I know there were windows, and you can let us know his view versus your balcony on deck 2. And for anyone listening who's unfamiliar with river cruise ships, there's really only 3 decks and then the sun deck. So we're not talking a big difference here. But what was the experience in the 2 different rooms like? Because I'm sure you looked at his room and vice versa.
Yeah, so he liked our balcony. He was like, oh, your room's so nice. But he didn't actually mind his room, eh?
No, I think he liked it. I think he enjoyed, he liked to have his own space, so I think it was nice.
Yeah, there was one thing.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
The noise thing?
No, there was that, though. I think that was not the first night. I guess it was one of the days or evenings, nights, I guess, that he could hear the noise of the water and the locks sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think
Or like a vibration too or something.
maybe he only said it once. Like it wasn't anything terrible, but like it's a different sound than ocean cruising. So even us, like we would hear sometimes. There was one morning very early. It was like 5 a.m. Well, I think it was the locks. I think that maybe they were putting things down before going
that's what it was,
through the locks or something.
Oh, right.
Like the
There's a lot of
sounds are
noise
different.
going through the cabin, yeah.
But it was so smooth. I remember you telling me that like there's no seasickness on a river.
Yeah.
So really smooth. You do not need boning for a river cruise. So that's another thing too, that some people who might feel a little bit sometimes seasick or motion sickness, I think that's another reason to do a river cruise too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well, Dan gets a little seasick on ocean and obviously not on river, but what about you guys personally?
On ocean, I feel it sometimes. Like I always feel like a bit of a, like lightheaded a bit. Mm-hmm. But, I'll get, once in a while, I'll get seasick, but not often. But I always feel something. But on the river cruise, it was so smooth. I mean, didn't feel a thing.
Yeah.
It was nice.
I love
Yeah,
that.
you'll take if it is a little bit rocky, he'll take a boning preventatively.
Yeah.
And that will usually
That'll help.
So do you have any advice for somebody that is a big ship cruiser thinking maybe small ship is the way to go?
Yeah, I think that they should give it a try. Honestly, I think that they would like it. I do think one of the things that they have to think about is when they're looking at the cost of a river cruise is to really look at it side by side. Because I've heard some people say, like even when I shared a little bit about our river cruise, some people said, oh, but a river cruise is really expensive. And when you look at the base price, you're just not going to find the same base price or what appears to be the same base price as an ocean cruise. When you look at, okay, now what if you were adding on your Wi-Fi? Because on our river cruise, Wi-Fi was included. What if you were adding on a specialty dining package? You do not need to add a specialty dining package because all of the food was included. All of the food was very good to excellent. And there was the chef's table, which was one of the very best restaurants that we've ever been to. It was so good. Oh my goodness. Did you like chef's table on Ama?
Yes, and we've been on a few different Ama ships, and it's a little different on each one. And then other river cruise lines, for example, Riverside has another dining experience. You pay a little more for it, but the option is there. And in general, I would say I always find that in cruising, the specialty experience, if it's included or a little upgrade, is 9 times out of 10 worth it.
Yes, yeah, I agree. And I heard Riverside that the food is like so good. But yeah. Yeah, I heard it's amazing, amazing, amazing. So there's no additional cost for the food. Then beyond that, the excursions are included. So when you look at the fact that you're in a port every single day and sometimes in 2 ports, there was actually one day that we did a tour of the Benedictine Abbey in the morning time. And then in the afternoon, we did like a little walking tour to Dürnstein. But that included a little bus ride over there. And then we walked around on our own. And then we signed up for a wine tasting, which by the end of the day, we were so tired. We're like, why did we sign up for the wine tasting? But it was good. It was good. And then we went back to the ship. And okay, I think that was it for that day. But there was another day. Was that the same day that after the wine tasting, there was the castle tour at nighttime?
Castle was
Okay, there was another day that at nighttime after dinner at like 9 o'clock or something, or 8 o'clock, in Grine, I think it was, that there was a, maybe the day we went to Salzburg. Anyway, there was a castle tour at night. So you even had, you're touring a castle at night, like thinking about how much would these excursions cost you if you were on an ocean cruise? And, you know, the only thing I can compare it to is maybe in Norway or the Mediterranean, like the approximate cost of excursions are usually going to be at the low end, 150 US, higher end, 300. Obviously, you can get much more than that. But like if we were looking at an average, and these were all really a very good quality excursion. So all of that being included. Oh, and then in the case of Ama, there was no specific drink package, wine, beer, Prosecco or champagne were included at our meals, but also specialty coffee during our meals. And then also like specialty coffee from a little machine, which was very good that you could have all the time. The gratuities were not included. So that's the only thing I can think of that was really an extra that you had to plan for. But otherwise, to think of that cost includes all of that. So I think it's important to kind of compare like apples to apples, and then also the experience. Is it going to be fulfilling in the way that maybe it's worth, instead of taking 2 ocean cruises that are a little bit less expensive, would it be worth it to do this one experience that you might really, you know, have these incredible memories from? So that's my thought.
Yeah, that's a really interesting way to look at it. Like to double up, maybe instead of taking 2, take one big kind of like keystone trip.
Yeah, well, because for a lot of people, this is like, I don't always like to use the expression bucket list, but I think it's certainly like wish list, and I think it should be. So another tip I think is also at the beginning and or at the end, if you're in 2 different cities, especially, to add on land. So whether it's with the river cruise line or on your own, if you're going all the way to Europe, and if it's not a usual for you, then you may as well spend extra time, whether it's in Munich or in Prague or in Budapest, you know. I think it's worth it.
And what did you guys end up doing for this cruise?
Yeah, Munich we did on our own.
And you flew in early, which is
Yeah.
Right.
big.
Yeah. So I should say also that it's always our tip and advice is to always fly in at least one day early when it's like a regular ocean cruise that is in the same, vicinity. But if we are flying to Europe, we will always fly 2 days early, especially because we know from where we live, there is usually only one flight that is going to leave per day to that city if it's like at nighttime. So if we miss that flight or if the airline cancels it for some reason, it may be really hard to get another flight until the next day. So not always, but it can be challenging.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that we allow at least 2 days. And in the case of this time, unfortunately, we were affected by the lovely Air Canada strike. And you just never know when airlines are going to strike, whether it's the pilots or the flight attendants and different things, or, unforeseen things happen. So our flight was canceled 6 hours before we were flying. And of course, because I have some flight anxiety and just because we wanted to, we had a direct flight. So we had a good flight. It was canceled, but we ended up getting on another flight, thank goodness, even though it was connecting flight. And we had a series of things that didn't make it as convenient as the direct flight would have been. But I have to tell you, one of the things that happened, because we had a connecting flight, we had only an hour and about 5 minutes in between. So we were quite tight on our time. And of course, Murphy's Law, we were in our airplane. We were all sitting in separate spots because we had no seats together by this point. And, we're taxiing. It's like 30 minutes and we're going faster, slower, faster, slower, until somebody, I think it must have been a flight attendant, came on the intercom to let everybody know that we would be heading back to the gate. And the reason was we would have to have authorities come on the plane to escort people off. And it turned out that somebody decided at some point during this time to vape on the airplane. And apparently this is against federal law. And, it was a really big deal, I think. 6 or 7 different authorities, everybody from the airport authority to the provincial authorities, to federal. We had Sûreté Quebec. They all came on, and that took a fair amount of time, a good 45 minutes to get them off the plane. Yeah. And very stupid because apparently it's a super big deal that I think they'll be on a no-fly list. There's a whole bunch of things. But of course, now we were delayed. Not only were we delayed because we had to go back to the gate, but after they got off, we were told
retrieve their suitcase. Yeah.
Yeah, because
We'll get it straight.
people's luggage and for safety reasons, right? You don't want to fly with the luggage of 2 people who are not on the plane anymore. So we were, happy to wait for them to get that off.
Or about 3 hours? 3
They
hour
were
delay.
about 3 hours on the plane.
Yes.
And you couldn't complain because, at
We
least,
were on the plane at least.
yeah, and we were just hoping once we take off, we make it to Barcelona. Of course, we did miss our connection. We knew that would happen. But when we did get to Barcelona, unfortunately, we didn't have a flight until later that night. It would have been oh my God, almost 11 hours later. But thank goodness we went directly to the Lufthansa counter and they were able to help us get onto an earlier flight. So it was not ideal, but we did make it to Munich, probably about 6 hours late. But we were flying in 2 days early, so we were there still, almost a day and a half.
Enough to enjoy
before.
the city and
Yeah,
get
and
to
we were
see a lot.
very relieved when we were having wine and beer at the Opera House.
Yeah, sure.
So that was good. Budapest, we stayed an extra day at the end, and obviously that's an amazing historic city. So on the last day of the river cruise, we had the day in Budapest, and we were doing a tour of Buda. So originally I thought, well, I don't have to stay an extra day in Budapest because we already have a day that we're there, and we're already doing a tour. But then thinking about it, we actually changed our flight to add an extra day. And a cruise tip for anybody or a travel tip is we stayed at the Marriott on the Danube. And that was a very nice hotel and location for the price. We like Marriott because, for Bonvoy points. So I know a lot of people do, but that was a good Marriott.
Yeah, and all the rooms have a view on the Danube. Every single room in
Nice.
the hotel. Yeah.
And then we were able to visit Pest, I guess it is. And we visited the synagogue on Doheny Street, the largest synagogue, I think it is, in Europe.
Yeah.
And some of the Jewish
Beautiful
Museum,
synagogue.
and that was important to us while we were there to see that it's a sad part of the history of Hungary, but like still something that you want to see. And I mean, honestly, like Budapest is really beautiful. And we did eat shinny cake.
Yeah, that's true. We had to.
Yeah. As one does.
Yeah, it was really expensive in Budapest. We weren't expecting that.
Expensive.
Yeah,
It was so expensive.
yeah, restaurants,
City.
everything.
Yeah.
Yes, we were surprised. Yeah.
The tourist areas, so it was expensive.
Yes. Two things. We are Marriott Bonvoy loyalist.
Okay.
So I love hearing that. The synagogue is really beautiful. It's unique.
It is. And it's pretty amazing the way, with the help of so many donors and I guess the support of Hungary, that they've rebuilt this. And it's something sad, but I think the fact that they have the guided tours that are free, of course, there's an entrance fee into the synagogue, but guided tours in different languages, and the museum and the different commemorative things that they have done, I think that's a good thing.
And a lot of river cruise lines, it's an option. Like you said, there's so many tour options in these cities, which is a great part of river cruising, but it is an option for most river cruises that we've seen the itineraries for that go to Budapest. Well, tell everybody where to find you and how to follow along, because we knew some of your adventures and the flight delays, and we were, waiting with bated breath too about your flights, because we follow you and we love going on the journey with you in that way. So where can people find you?
So you can find us on YouTube at Life Well Cruised, and everywhere it's always Life Well Cruised. But I have to say, we do have a couple of videos out about our cruise, our AmaWaterways, for lack of a better word, review, but information about the cruise. You'll find that at YouTube, and otherwise on Instagram, where I share a lot of pictures and tips and stuff like that, and Facebook and TikTok as well. Oh, and at lifewellcruise.com, where we have our written articles and reviews and packing lists.
And you guys are amazingly consistent. You send out consistent newsletters. You are like clockwork with your publishing of YouTube videos. So we always appreciate that about you guys. Are you gonna go on more small ships?
Oh yeah. Do you think we'd go on more small ships?
I think the river cruise bug now. So I think we're going to have to plan another one at some point.
Oh, actually, funny enough, this is something Ethan said. I think it was like the last day, and they had a barbecue in Budapest, and it was just so nice. And I should say we did visit AmaMora, by the way, which was next to us. So the hotel director was kind enough to ask us if we wanted to take a quick little tour of it. So it was nice to see what a more regular, let's say, like regular size, the width.
Single wine.
Yeah.
Single size.
So it was nice to see that, because we thought that was really nice as well. Because at first we thought, oh no, will we only want, like, obviously you can only cruise on one ship. And we knew that AmaMagna goes in the Danube, and if we want to do other rivers, we're going to have to do the single wide. So it was really nice to see AmaMora and to see that it was beautiful and it was more cozy, but really nice. But yeah, for sure, we would do river cruises, and I think other small cruises as well. We like river cruising, but maybe small ships, even if it was in the Caribbean or
Europe, maybe Med or
Europe.
something.
Yeah. I think the idea even of being with, a few hundred people rather than a few thousand people has an appeal.
Well, we're biased, but we support this, of course.
I know who I should ask about itineraries and about ships.
I love it.
We appreciate you having us on, and we appreciate all of your great advice.
Our pleasure. All right. Well, until next time, hopefully we see you on a cruise. And if you are listening and see us on a cruise, either of the four of us, don't be shy and say hello. So we will talk soon. And thanks again for coming on.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Bye-bye.